All
Is
right.
this something that we can share with our nurses too, right? Our providers, the people who do the treatment?
100%. Yeah, I will send over the recording after we get done here.
Okay.
So today I wanted to talk about kind of the anatomy of high ticket sales, right? And I know we talked, Sahar and Naseem, I know we talked about defining, packages and whatnot, right? Which we definitely will. But I think it's even more imperative to kind of talk about the psychology of sales and how to effectively upsell and cross sell one. So we could talk about it here. And I believe Amanda is on the call, right? Did I get your name correct? Is it Amanda?
Yeah. Yes, Amanda.
That way you hear it, Amanda, too, because and also you can share this with the team, right? So let me go ahead and share my screen. I do have something prepared for you, and we can go ahead and share. Give me 1 second.
What I'd like to do while he's doing that, Sahar and Amanda, I think what's important is we want to make sure that all the providers see this video, but also we want to make sure that we actually have get-togethers and go over it so that we can emphasize it again.
Okay.
And Naseem, if we can set up aside some time too to talk about to chat about this with the other provider as well, along with this screen share, because I think it'll help out, right? Just
Okay.
live in person, and then also like once we get kind of more comfortable, we can mock up some role playing, right? Which also helps out, right?
Yep.
So we share here. Oh, not that slideshow. You guys see the full screen?
Yes.
Okay. So master the psychology of high ticket sales, right? So today we're going to talk about controlling your own destinies, right? And get excited, right? We're doing a lot of things, right? We're doing a lot of things, building out the funnels, building out your ads and whatnot. But the reason why we get on these calls is one, so once we do launch ads, we can hit the ground running, right? And it starts off with how we set the expectations, how we effectively take someone who walks in our doors, taking them along the journey to actually buying higher ticket, right? And that's the name of the game. But before we kind of start, we got to ask ourselves like these type of questions, right? One, am I asking the right questions to get clients to like me, right? Obvious. I say it in these type of, I know you're nodding your head, Naseem, but if I don't say it, it's just like it goes into the ether, right? So we tell the team, hey, even though it's easy, we talk about it, right? Am I using active listening to understand their pain points, right? Am I gathering enough intel to build value, right? Am I using the intel that I've learned and the value that I've built to overcome objections and ask for the sale? Now, without this knowledge, how can we close more sales if clients don't like me, right? Sounds pretty simple, but we have to get them to like us, right? People buy from other people, right? How can we upsell and cross sell more if I don't truly understand their pain points? It's like any good doctor, right? If they don't understand what's actually going on, how can they prescribe you the right medication to fix whatever that is going on in your life, right? And here's the most important thing, like, how can I build a 7-figure business if I don't acknowledge that there will be objections, right? There will be objections. So I have to have a process to overcome them and close more deals. Even that last bullet is powerful, right? Because most people who turn on ads, they get results, they get the booked appointments. The second they land, they're confronted with the objection of, hey, this is too much, or I'm not sure. They cave, right? It's like, oh, no, you're totally right. We'll see you next time, right? And that's not ideal, right? With everyone that we come in, how we win here is acknowledge that, hey, everyone will have objections, right? But as long as we have a solid foundation and process to overcome those, we will win, right? Everyone that comes in our door, we will have more closes and more upsells and cross sells if the whole team is in acknowledgement of saying, hey, there will be objections, but as long as I follow this framework or this process, I will close more deals to help out our clinic so everyone grows. Does that make sense for everyone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Here's a big component of sales, right? People only buy when the value we present to them is greater than the cash that they give you, right? Case in point. And Sahar, Naseem, you know how you were, how we got together and how you kind of were excited about this process is when I said, architecting the entire sales cycle, right? Get them to make a decision off the desires as opposed to the thing. And when they focus on the thing, that's when they make a decision on price, and they'll always go for the cheapest option and view you as a commodity, right? When we kind of flip this and say, hey, we tell the team, hey, let's focus on giving value and actually solving problems. That's when sales magically come, right? It's like, oh man, we're closing so many deals, or we're upselling, cross-selling so many things. What's going on, right? Is when we focus on the experience and value. So they're like, whoa, I mean, these guys are giving me so much value in terms of reaching my aesthetic goals. Whatever you say, I'm going to take, right? That's the mentality. So and we'll talk more about this team like on future calls, but I wanted to give like a brief overview of the anatomy of the perfect sales process. And on future calls, we'll like go over, in depth, like each one, right? But for this first call, I wanted to just kind of structure the anatomy of the sales process. And I screenshotted like social proof, right? It works. Now this person did 107K like in body contouring sales in 1 month, kind of following this process, right? So believe me, it works as long as it's followed, right? So preparation, right? First thing is preparation. We have a unique opportunity in sales to help real people solve real problems, right? All that really means is we have to, even before we get into work or before we walk into the clinic, right? We have to tell the staff, hey, like leave whatever is going on in our personal lives at the door, right? Because people can pick up on that in terms of us selling, and just factoring in the type of industry we're in. We're, quite frankly, guys, in the business of selling confidence. And if we're not confident, how can we sell them a higher ticket product if we're like, hey, how's it going? How are you? Right. And I tell you, like, even before I get on these calls, like even the coaching calls, my sales calls, I pump myself up, right? I'm like, hey, I'm grateful for the opportunity that I have today to affect people's lives, right? I'm grateful to get on a call with you guys to help change your business, right? I'm grateful for the opportunity. And that's all part of sales, right? And it gets me excited to do what I do. You know what I mean? That should be communicated to the whole staff, right? So if the staff loves coming into work, if they're excited, I know when I was an employee, we did a lot of like, even before we open, like team pump ups or what have you, right? To get people excited. That's the first thing in sales. And the correlation that I can give you guys both is when you guys signed up, I told you guys, hey, sales doesn't happen when they come in the door, right? Even though we're talking about sales on this call, sales happens when they read the ad on our side, right? So on your side, in terms of the sales team, it should come from, hey, let's get prepared to have a great day, right? And what's correlated with that is looking your best, right? And I'm not saying you should wear a suit and tie. I know you guys aren't doing that, right? And I don't know if you guys wear, specific uniforms or anything like that. It should really mean, okay. But whatever the teaching point is, whatever you're wearing, you should be the best version of that version, whatever that is. So you guys feel like $1 million. So if it is like a company uniform, or if they're not, right, whatever that is, should be the best version of that, clean, no wrinkles, stuff like that. So they feel like $1 million, right? So pretty self-explanatory. The second is introduction, right? This is a key component in the sales process because some people just go in for the sale, right? It's like, hey, this is how much it costs, right? Whoa, let's build a relationship first, right? Let's date before we get married. You know what I mean? The reason why I say I put so much emphasis on the introduction is, even though you guys are selling confidence and stuff like that, there's still a guise of salespeople, right? Oh, you're just trying to sell me something. Salespeople get a bad rap. You know what I mean? And that affects closing at the end. So just to acknowledge that in the beginning of the sales cycle and to practice on the introduction, and all this really means is having a legitimate conversation to build familiarity, to break down the guard that people already have, with sales individuals, right? Like, when's the last time you guys, I'm sure everyone's bought in a car here, right? We went to the dealership. I'm like, hey, you're not going to get something on me. I'm going to haggle with you, right, to get the lowest cost possible. I have my guard up because I'm going to the dealership, and I know you're just trying to sell me something, right? Right, and that's where objections lie, and that's where the bias comes in, where like when you do pitch the price, if this is not acknowledged, right, they're just going to be like, no. You know what I mean? So I give really big emphasis on the introduction to build familiarity, and you should make them feel like they're chatting with a friend, and rightfully so, right? You guys are trying to achieve their aesthetic goals. They are looking for you for guidance, right? So we should focus in on that and focus on the introduction. And for the team, the best way to do that is, again, acting like you're chatting with a friend. The best way of like breaking down a guard is using humor. And I'm not saying that you have to be the funniest person in the world or be a comedian. It just has to be a little lighthearted, right? I mean, Sahar and Naseem, when we were talking, like I used a little bit of humor, like, hey, what motivated you to reach out and book a call, right? And then we talked about your lives, and then we built familiarity, and then we got on a call, and then a demo call, and then now you're a client, right? What I say here is exactly the process that I do, right? And it's more so, and now I think you see that I talk to you. You know, one, I said, I want you to view us as your virtual CMO, right? To lean on us when, you know, you don't know what's going on. That's the partnership that I wanted to make you guys feel even before we signed, right? That's the feeling, right? I'm your friend. Here's how I can, here's how I can help you. But even more so, hey, who are you, right? Where are you located? You know what I mean? We started with that. And then the third step, gathering intel. And this is critical. This is critical for the next two steps, building value and asking for the sale, right? Gathering intel. I'm just going to read this. I'm going to read this from word to word, then I'll kind of talk about this organically, but we must ask the right questions to understand pain points, build value, and overcome objections in the future. Again, when I said, hey, we acknowledge there will be objections, right? So having a plan to overcome that, that's a winning mindset, right? In terms of selling more higher ticket and cross sells. We need to find out what they want, why they need it, and what problem does it solve, right? So when I say gather intel, it's all about fact-finding questions and getting them to open up. I'm going to future pace here, and I know I said we would talk about this more in future calls, right? But we do this with our call center, right? You will do this as well when you guys get on the phone with them to kind of set appointments. But even more so when they do come in for their consults, we want to gather intel again, right? Even though assuming that we've asked the same type of questions, that's a different mentality when they're inside, right? So we gather intel, we must ask the right questions, right? To one, understand their pain points, build value, and overcome objections, so we can sell in the future, right? The big point here is active listening, right? So an example would be, hey, what motivated you to reach out and book the initial call with us? Got it. What are you looking to tone something up or slim something down? Okay. Why are you looking to do that, right? And in my mind, when I'm asking these questions, I'm like, okay, I know there's going to be an objection on price in the future. So let me kind of back them into a corner and ask them a few more questions to kind of outline what they've been doing. So their pain points, right? So I can kind of craft a message when we ask for the sale, right? So I can overcome that. So an example would be, hey, what have you tried in the past to reach your aesthetic goals? Okay. They say whatever it is. Oh, how long have you been doing that? Most of the time, it's going to be a long time or what have you. Or if the conversation organically says, hey, I've been trying supplements or whatever, they're going to say, I spent a lot of money on supplements, right? Okay. The kind of the punch in the gut is, okay, gotcha. Well, how confident are you on relying on X to achieve X, right? Or how confident are you on relying on diet and exercise, and you said you were doing it for 10 years now to achieve your aesthetic goals, they're probably going to say, not really confident, right? So we're gathering the intel, and we're practicing active listening so we can use these as objections to overcome objections in the future, right? When we do build out your CRM, Amanda, Sahar, Nasim, the best case scenario is to jot these down in the CRM, right? That's what that's for. So you guys can reference that back and kind of do what's called personalized marketing. Hey, Ashley, I know you mentioned this. Hey, before when you last came in, just wanted to let you know we have this special promotion XYZ that touches on these pain points. XYZ. It's very personal, right? So that's why I say this is all a holistic thing, right? If you guys didn't pay for the system that we built out and it was just like a sales coaching thing, this is imperative. Gathering intel, right? Does that make sense, everyone?
Yes.
And when I do coach this for new estheticians or people who are not quite confident in sales, I say it like this, right? I'm empowering you to gather intel because we are here to solve problems and change people's lives, right? We're affecting their lives and we're achieving their aesthetic goals. But here's where I want you to feel empowered. At this step, gather intel, we are merely asking questions. We are not selling them on anything else. We're not selling them, right? We are just like a doctor would, or any good doctor would. We're just asking them questions just to get them to open up, right? And just taking a step back into the anatomy of the process, the introduction, we're just chatting with them like any friend would, right? So I'm just empowering you to ask questions. So one, we can find a solution for them and build value so we can actually help them, right? So don't feel scared about selling at this point. We're just asking questions. Does that make sense, guys? For when you, and I'll get into this on future calls, right? But does that make sense when you guys show this recording to the rest of the team? Cool. Awesome. So after we've gathered intel, right, this is where we build value, right? And if you remember on our call, guys, the segue is, hey, based on what you told me, right, I think you're perfect for XYZ.
I was going to say under gather intel, it's just psychology, like, right? We all want and desire deep within us to be heard and be understood. And I think that's the goal in, genuinely, not because we have an ulterior motive in mind, but genuinely, we want to provide that opportunity to our patients so that they can feel heard and understood. And that's the fun part of selling, in my opinion.
100%, 100%. And it goes back to the first step of preparation. I say here, be authentic and be the best version of yourself. You know what I mean? People can pick up. People can pick up if you're being inauthentic, right? The second you're inauthentic, they're going to feel like, oh, you guys are just trying to sell me something, right? Yep. The best way I could describe it is, well, let me segue into something else, right? We're solving actual problems, and it should feel like here's another truth, right? You will get the people that say, I'm just looking, right? I'm just looking. You will get that all the time. But in this process, I'm empowering people or salespeople to think a step further, be like, cool, you're just looking. Let me help you look, right? And let's find the best thing. Right?
Yeah,
right?
That's one thing that we're always like, I personally, when somebody is just saying like, I'm just looking, okay, what can I help with to help you achieve what you're looking for? But yeah, a lot of times it's like a block there that.
Yeah. And go ahead.
I got to tell you, when you said what you just said, it warmed up my heart, Jordan. When you said, when somebody says, I'm just looking, and if we can genuinely respond by, well, that sounds really good, let's look together.
Exactly.
And that would warm my heart up, honestly. honestly, as a client. If I said, I'm just looking because I know he's trying to sell me something, but if his response would be, and nobody actually has ever responded that way to me. If they say, well, that's wonderful, let's look together.
Mm-hmm.
That would go a long way, in my opinion, as a customer for me.
Yeah, I mean yes, I mean we want to build value, we want to be authentic, right? And that comes with being grateful and having gratitude at the position that we're in, right? Like sales is a very empowering position to be in because we're helping people, right? My mentality is everyone's always looking, right? Everyone's always looking. They always say that, but it's our job to be like, okay, let me help you let me help you point you in the right direction of let me point you in the right direction and let me help you look, right? Like you were saying,
Yeah.
right? And people just want to feel validated in that choice. And if we kind of check the boxes and if we position it that way, then they're going to be like, well, why wouldn't I go with you guys? You know what I mean? Let's help me look for the solution. You solved it.
I think the key word for me is together.
Yeah.
As I'm thinking about it. If the response to me was, if I say, I'm just looking, and if the response somehow was, that's wonderful, so let's looking together. It's sort of, I just got a friend. That's the way it makes me feel.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, like I said, like the whole point of this is to get them feeling like they're chatting with a friend. And that's where where sales magically happen, right? It's like, oh man, sales are just happening, right? If the team is all in line with this, right? Let me segue into building value, right? So you said in this team, like, hey, it warmed your heart because it feels like you're having a friend, or you gained a friend, right? So this is where we build value, and based on the intel that we gathered, right, we craft a feature, benefit, and advantage statement based on, again, the intel we gathered. And we must hit on all three in order to build the most value, right? Let me go deeper into that, right? Let me just, I'm just going to make up something that I know nothing about. I'm going to make up a feature, benefit, and advantage, just so to come across the point of like, hey, this can be for anything. There's a fan in my room, like a rotating fan, right? The feature, I'm just going to make it up. Stainless steel blades, right? The benefit has rotating. It has rotating. It has a rotating axis, so I have the benefit of having a cool room, right? The advantage, I won't have sweat stains underneath my shirt, right? It's going deeper into kind of what those are, and not just honing in on, hey, it's 10 sessions and it melts fat or freezes fat, uses radio frequency to, XYZ, right? That's a feature. And a lot of the times we hone in on just the feature, and there's no wonder why people are like, nah, you know what I mean? Like, okay, it's like when you talk about cars, it's like, oh, you got the horsepower, blah blah blah, right? People who, my grandfather just bought a Lexus, right? And he was talking about like, oh, it's got this horsepower, you know what I mean? It's blue, right? That's a feature, right? And he got captain shares, right? And he was talking about the benefits, right? Oh, well, we have 2 kids now, so it's easier to go on trips and whatnot, right? And the advantages now is, well, now we have more room for the kids. They're not going to be crying during the whole trip, right? I just took it a little bit deeper, so I paint the picture of what life could be like after the services that we provide, right? If I just honed in on, hey, man, it's horsepower, right? I don't even know what the horsepower is, right? It's blue, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, these are front-facing things, but one, my grandpa is a grandfather, right? He has kids. He gets stressed out about taking kids on trips, right? So we got this car to one benefit where he has more room, and the advantages is he thinks, right? We haven't been on a trip yet, but he thinks the kids will be less cranky on long rides. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I think for our case, so that we can speak the same language in our building value portion, we can refer to it as FBA, Every time that we build value, we can say we got to cover FBA, the feature benefit advantage, so that we can all remember what that includes. And I think I want to emphasize, none of those items includes any dollars associated with it.
Right. 100%.
So a feature is not, 4 sessions to $20,000 or any of it. None of these 3 items would include dollar amounts.
Yeah.
100%. And you hit the nail on the head there, because we say the price only at the last step, right? And again, Mana, you didn't hear this, but when in our talks, like with Naseem and Zahar, I said, hey, we talk about the whole selling psychology and when to say the price, when not to say the price, because if we say the price too early, they will always make a judgment on price and view us as a commodity, right? That's not what we want. We want them to make a decision on their desires because we've solved actual problems. And again, going back to this slide, people only buy when the value we present them is greater than the cash they give you, right? So imagine this, if we don't build the value and we say the price here, they will never take the higher end package. That's important.
That's one of the reasons actually our nurses don't talk about pricing with clients. What we do normally, we bring the patient in for whatever reason that they want to do whatever they want to do. They talk about what's going to benefit them, what's going to happen, how it's going to look, and all of that. And when it comes to the price, they normally ask me or Amanda to come and talk about it. So they never engage with the client. So they do all the full run assessment on them and tell them what exactly they're going to get. Then at the end, we normally give them pricing. So that's been actually one of the good things that we kind of used to do.
Great.
I think for this body sculpting, which is what we're focusing on right now, Sahar, I think it would be smart for you and Amanda, maybe perhaps together, and maybe with Sarah, come up with a list. Features is this, benefits this, advantage statement is this, so that we'll play based on that.
We're actually doing a little video, like Valda said, to put online first of all, and so we're doing step-by-step video of how we're doing this, and we're gonna add actually all these features at the end with some before and after pictures of our real clients that we've done body sculpting on.
What? So, not to segue from this conversation, but where, this is my marketing brain going off, where are you going to present that video?
Well, we're going to put it online, but like I'm saying, like we already have a list for what's going to be, like we're working on to put a list together that what's the benefits of it. So we're having it ready. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
What's the benefits of, and how you're going to reach that goal, and how long it's going to take some people to get to, or like different people, it's just all about that treatment. So if somebody goes to our website or to our Instagram, can kind of see a little bit of and have a little bit of an idea, then we can add whatever we need to add what we're talking to them.
Can I make a suggestion? Because Jordan, what he told us at the beginning was that he's going to be our virtual CMA, if you will. What I'd like to do is, if it's okay with you, Sarah, let's go ahead and just put them on paper, what the feature benefit advantages are.
Okay.
Let's shoot it to Jordan. Let him take a look at it and see what his thoughts are before we make a video of it and post it anywhere.
Sure. Well,
yeah.
I was going to add that at the end of it, so it has nothing to do with the video. We're doing it step by step of the procedure we're doing. So.
Yeah. No. I think. Go ahead and send it over, and I'll give you your my kind of advice on that. Even more so, Sahar, let's separate of this call. Maybe we touch base on where to send that video, because here's my thought process on that. You give the whole kind of process, right? So you've essentially satiated their curiosity, if that makes sense.
Before they come in the door.
Yeah. So I think that type of content is great, 100%, but I think we just need to strategize where in the process we put it, right? Because like I said, like if the foundational thing is if you do something too early, then they're going to be like, oh, well, I have everything that I need. Why would I go in and ask questions for a consult? If I'm ready for this type of service, I'll just call you.
But last time we talked to Valda, she said that it would be great to have some type of a video like this. So if people want to refer to and go on our Instagram, because we don't have one like that. We do have something from the procedure, but it doesn't answer questions or anything.
You're right. Like this type of content is 100% warranted. But so for instance, like if someone booked an appointment and hey, by the way, this is our step-by-step process. We're very excited to, chat with you. Before you even come in, here's our process, right? We're super excited. That would be a fine way to build anticipation and value, right there. But what I'm merely stating is, especially if someone knows nothing about you, right? If you give them the process like off the bat, they're going to be like, okay, well, this is great. I'll call you when I'm ready.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if you remember on our calls, on our first call, I just got to know you. I didn't say anything of the process. Right. And then look where we are now. Right. So that's kind of the mentality. And I'm not saying that content is bad. We definitely have that content, but in a different section of the funnel. That's all I'm saying. Right. Okay. My professional opinion. Make sense?
Right. Yeah.
Cool.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool. And we can talk about that on a separately. Last one, ask for the sale, right? Sounds simple, but sometimes people don't ask, right? They have a hard time asking or what have you, especially if they haven't followed a process, right? That's where people get scared, or not. Scared is a wrong word, intimidated, right? That's why sales is intimidating for a lot of people. But similar to building up our clients and taking them through a journey, the best salespeople, or at least, the best salespeople and the best managers of salespeople have their own process of building up salespeople to ask for the sale, right? It's a buildup of both parties, salesperson and client, right? So this is our buildup, right? I'm saying I've focused it on the guise of talking with clients, but you should also look at it and flip it over to the buildup of the sales professional, right? Get prepared, right? Get empowered about the introduction to actually solve problems, gather intel, right? So we can build value and position something to solve their problems, right? Ask for the sale. It's a buildup on us as well. So I say this again, just because some people don't do it. You ask for the sale, and this is where we craft our why statement, right? Hey, based on all of our conversations, based on when you told me, Ashley, I think you're perfect for a mommy makeover package, and it's $5,600, right? And if when the objection comes on price, right, because you know it's going to come, right? You're like, you can, the salesperson or the sales individual can feel empowered that they gathered enough intel and they asked the right questions to overcome the objection on price, right? If you guys remember, I asked, hey, in this makeup scenario, I said, hey, what have you tried in the past to reach your aesthetic goals, right? Ask that question, and how confident are you on relying on that to reach your aesthetic goals? In this makeup scenario, I said, not that confident, right? My response to that would be like, hey, Ashley, hey, I totally get it, but I want to make sure that you don't miss out on this limited time offer, because one, I want you to reach your aesthetic goals. Hey, didn't you tell me you've been doing diet and exercise for X amount of time, right? And you said you told me that you weren't confident on this to achieve your aesthetic goals. Did you not? Here's a trick. I always put the ball in their court, and I say keyword phrases like, did you not? Or walk me through, right? Is another one, but did you not? Just to get them to say, yeah, I did say that. I did say that, right? Get them to kind of acknowledge that they've done this, right? Because the guard is up still. Even if we've gone through the process, a little bit of the guard peaks back up when you ask for the sale, right? I like to think I empower our sales staff and the partners that we walk through this process of, hey, we've gathered the intel, we've gone through steps 1 through 4, and we knew this was going to come, and we have the wherewithal and intel to overcome this objection. Hey, Ashley, hey, didn't I totally get it. Didn't you say XYZ? Oh, I did say that. Okay. I don't want you to miss on this. I don't want you to miss out on this limited time offer because because you told me XYZ, I think this mommy makeover package is perfect for you because XYZ and address their pain points, right?
I think the other trick for step 5 when you ask for sale is the tricks that I've learned is ask questions where they have to the answer yes. Avoid questions where the answer could be no. I think the more that they repeat yes, and the quicker answers of yes, the more likely they are to buy. That's been my experience.
I'm gonna blow your mind right here, Naseem. I don't. They can say no and still mean yes. You'd be like, "Hey, are you opposed to starting today?" What would your response be?
Yeah, obviously the answer would be no.
Exactly. No, I wouldn't be opposed, right? Because sometimes it's easier to say no than yes, right? That's a strategy, right? I wouldn't lean on that, but that's just the mere point there is like we don't always have to get them to say yes, right?
Well, I would rephrase that statement and I would say, so having gone through everything, how about we start the first session today and let's see what kind of results we can get. Would you be interested in that? That's how I would rephrase it.
100%. There's a lot of things that we can do with these kind of frameworks, but yeah, you're 100%, right? The main teaching point here is, hey, we asked for the sale. There's going to be an objection, right? But we want to empower everyone on the staff, everyone on the team to overcome those because we've gone through step 1 through 4. And step 5, we already knew it was coming, right? We're going to ask for the sale. There's going to be an objection. And that's the best way to get prepared to selling more, right? A lot of clinics, or just selling in general, right? A lot of new salespeople don't go through the process and they ask for marriage and they don't date, right? Got to date before we get married. And that's the best way of doing it to have a happy marriage, right?
I think the other thing that happens in our society, the fast-paced society that we all live in, is we all tend to become less patient. Process requires patience from our perspective when we're selling. It requires us, you can't shortcut anything, in my opinion. You can't shortcut and skip number 2 or number 3 or either one of them. We have to be patient because when you spend time with people, and you've committed your time and energy and you've educated people, what I've learned is that it's harder for them to say no at that point because you made the commitment of your time to them.
So 100%, right? Yeah, it's all about patience, and you want to make sure that we're committed to everyone that walks in our doors, right? And I know that we're still building out your sales funnels and whatnot, but this right here can be implemented today.
Yep.
Right? You guys can I'll send you the screen. I'll send you this Word doc. Sorry, Google Sheet, not Google Sheet. No, I don't know what Google calls this, but it's the PowerPoint equivalent, right? Whatever Google calls it. And this recording, and you guys can implement this today, right? In order to sell more, right? And we haven't even talked about like what the packages should be or what have you, right? This is the framework, right? Let's talk about the framework first, and then we could talk about the packages. But this right here, just based on the prices you guys have and the packages that you currently have, this can change your business tomorrow, right? If you start implementing this today.
Okay.
You guys excited for the next? You guys excited for the next?
I'm very excited.
I'm excited to chat with you. Let's schedule the next call next week.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Joking aside, questions or feedback on kind of what we went over. I want this to be your call in terms of discussing this, because even though we're recording this, I want you to deeply understand this portion, because this is when I say the missing link for a profitable campaign and not, this is it, right? my mentality here is it's very easy to get leads and booked appointments, right? Using paid ads. It's very easy to do that, right? Again, some people will not book an appointment, right? Some people will, some people won't. Some people will say stop, right? You guys know this. Everyone's in different stages of the buying cycle. But when they actually come in, this is where real change happens and where seven-figure businesses are emerge, right? Kind of acknowledging the sales process, right? And if the whole team is in line with that, especially with the offers that we create, that's where we right? So yeah, go ahead. Any questions or feedback on kind of what we went over today?
Okay. Any questions?
I wanted to say something since we are recording this. I wanted for the recording. In order for us, in my opinion, in order for us to succeed in this process, there's a couple of things that are required. One, as I said, was patience. The other thing that I think is important for all of our team members to be able to be in what I would call mode of learning. Obviously, all the people that we have, they've done this before. They're really good, at what they do. They've got experience. We don't have anybody who doesn't have any experience. But if we have to be in the posture of learning, which means that we have to be open to changing some of the things the way we've done it in the past, or the way I feel like is the right way of doing it, because this process has proven success. Mm-hmm. And that's very, very important for us to make sure all of us, including me, I learned something new today, and I'm going to modify some of the things that I do. And we all need to have the posture of learning and humility to say, you know what, there's always something I can learn to get better. And mm-hmm. I think the fact that you've pursued this process for other medi-spas and they've been successful in implementing this process, I want to just ask everybody who's listening, who would look at this video, to implement it in their heart and embrace it, rather than look at it and say, well, I've done this before, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, definitely. We want to learn, and we want to, put this in work and see how it can change our...
Yeah. So I think in our language, I figured out is Pigba.
What?
Pigba.
Pigba.
Preparation, like introduction. Right? I think
it's all about the acronyms.
Yeah, we can use Pigba so that we can memorize it, the 5 steps. Important for us to remember Pigba, and I think it's important for us to remember.
I don't know what's the 5. Yeah.
So that way we can all speak the same language, perhaps.
Cool. Well, I'm excited about this call. I think it was productive based off what you said, Nasim. I think you got some value on this. So let's schedule something, or Vlada, let's schedule something for next week. I don't think ads are live yet, but I know they're pretty soon, right? Next week, I want to.
They're live.
Oh, they are. Gotcha. So next week, we'll talk about managing the pipeline and setting expectations for the team. Will more people be on, guys, or is it just the team on now?
So what we're gonna do, we're gonna share it with others, because either they're with the client or they're not working that day. Okay. So it's a little hard to get everybody in, but we will share it with them. But would you send me this Galata from last week that we did the pipeline video? Would you send those also under the same notes that you sent me, so we can kind of save them and keep that in our lists for, send me the link so I can have it?
Are you talking to Vlad or me?
Well, both of you.
I will send you the link to this video, right? If you did something separate, go ahead and send them the link if you recorded that. But this recording I'll send to.
Is it possible to add it to that notes that you guys sent me already?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have it all in one piece, so I can share it with the staff. That would be great.
Yeah. I shared with them. I usually share notes, and I do have a couple of videos there. So Jordan, if you wanna give me the link to the recording, I can implement it inside the notes.
Yeah, I will. I wasn't sure what you were talking about, Sahar, about the note, but I'll send the link to you, Vlada, for
Thank you.
note.
Yeah, that makes it very very easy if they're all under one roof. This way we know where to find it quickly.
Okay, great. Yeah, we'll send that over. It'll take a few minutes for it to upload because we've been chatting for almost an hour.
Question: Did you guys start the advertisement because we've received few messages?
Yeah. Yeah, I've already been checking. They've already started it.
Vlada, was that did we start ads already?
We started ads yesterday. I don't know if you guys received my email yesterday. I kind of like told you that we started already. And yeah, I think we already generated a couple of leads. So our call center, does have tasks for you guys. I mean, tasks for themselves to call your leads.
So, Amanda, would you please do me a favor and go, if you have time, if you can go over that one more time with me, since I have two of the staff here. I think it would be nice if you just can go, since we have actual clients in our pipeline.
Yeah.
Go over so we can kind of like, figure out and like have an idea of what we're doing here before we're leaving today.
Yeah, let me check your pipeline, and I'll get in touch with you. So maybe we can Zoom, kind of like Zoom meet and talk about the actual leads that you guys have.
All right, sounds good. After 2 o'clock, I'm available, and we can do that. So,
Sarjan, have you shared the previous video with the staff?
what previous video?
The last video that we went through training that Vlada did for us.
No, not yet. But because we had some questions and some things needed to be changed, I prefer not to. I think this is gonna make them confused. I would prefer to go through it one more time if possible.
Okay. Next time, would you do me a favor? Would you use your laptop for Zoom? Because this is impossible. Your sound is horrible, and we just have to make an effort to hear you. So
Okay.
your laptop from now.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, Vlada, go ahead and set something up with them in terms of doing the pipeline. But once we end this call, I will send you the link, Vlada, for you to put in the notes. It'll take a couple of minutes because we've been chatting for close to an hour, just because of the size.
Thank you. And then Sarjan, let's go ahead and share this link that we get today with everybody.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Awesome, guys. Appreciate you. And yeah, I'm sure we'll chat next week. Vlada, go ahead and schedule something, and then we'll chat next week.
Thank
you.
you.
We'll see you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.